to the final episode of After the After Hours with your boy TraderPrad. The final day of this week is tomorrow going to be a free fall Friday. Now get ready for tomorrow. Powell going on the microphone. Powell going on the microphone again. Get ready for tomorrow. So I do have a watch list ready, but if you guys are ready, hit that like and subscribe. Hit that like and subscribe. Thank you guys for all the love. Thank you guys for all the support. This is your boy TraderPrad. TraderPrad. But if you guys are ready for this show to get started, why don't we dive into the full screen and hit that like and subscribe. Alright, mateys, how are we doing? Let's go to the full camera. Let's turn the music down. Oh, that's right, my camera's not plugged in. Okay, let's just go to the full screen. I thought the camera was plugged in. The camera's still not plugged in, so no webcam today either. But today's actually a day where I could go on webcam. You know, my hair is not looking stupid ugly. But I might be, so no webcam. Moving forward, how are you guys doing today, ladies and gentlemen? Hopefully you were able to survive some of the wild market that we had today. QQQ, how much was QQQ down end of the day? 0.5%. I did not get what I wanted, which was a halt down on the market, but I still got what I wanted, which was a good down move overall. Take advantage of the shorts on the market today. And then, you know, I think IWM actually one of the first ETFs that entered bear market territories. Obviously, bear market territories means down 20% from all-time highs. So, officially entering bear market for IWM, and I guess not too far away for the rest of the market. You got the S&P 500 now entering Is it recession market? No, I'm joking. You know, 10%, 20%. So we just hit 10% down, and then 20%. We'll see if we do get to that bear market territories. I thought 10% was the bear market territory, but I guess IWM hitting 20% is what triggered that alert that I saw from CNBC today. They sent out an alert saying the first ETF to join bear market was IWM. Dow, DIA, DOW, Dow Jones, still only down 10%. You saw S&P 500, which was down about 12. Here's QQQ, only about 4% or so away from entering that same bear market territory marker overall. You know, things are getting bad. That's the only thing you gotta say. Things are getting bad. You got one right, UVXV. I got one right. Well, I got more than one thing right. Let me tell you that for sure. UVXY, obviously, yes, this is going to be high priority for the next few days. If the market does give you some sort of a bounce to the downside, a bounce from the downside, UVXY shorts are such a high priority tomorrow. Up 36%. Wow, but the TH says I only got one right today. Well, he didn't say only. He said you got one right, shot up 8 points. I also got a couple other things right, such as Restoration Hardware, down 100 points, down 40%. Down 40% for Restoration Hardware, and just a straight move to the downside. If you took the opening 5-minute candle low break or the pre-market low break and kind of gave it that little high as your stop, 160 against 165, I mean, your risk to reward was intense over there. You got $20 reward for risking about $5-6. So what a move across the board on some of these names. For example, Micron. Look at how Micron pops right into one of the lines that I have mapped out on the chart for myself and then sells off from it. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that beautiful? It's like picture perfect. Only 2 cents above my first line and never even went into my second line. This is where I hammered the short on Micron today, and I was able to ride it all the way into $76. We'll talk about my trades in a second, but I just wanted to, rub it into TH over there because he's my biggest hate watcher. I have to rub it into my hate watcher that I had, more than one right call. I'm joking. He's not a hate watcher. He hates it when I call him a hate watcher. That's why I call him a hate watcher. But no, this was a monster trade, and if you were here yesterday on my streams, or if you follow me on Twitter, you would actually see these plans called out last night, right? God damn, I tweet too much. Right here, you'll see my 4 ideas that I tweeted out last night. Restoration Hardware, MU, and MU did picture perfect, exactly what your boy Pratty Daddy wanted from it. So very, very happy with how I traded that one, but equally unhappy, is that the right word? Equally dissatisfied, equally retarded in the way I traded some of the other names. So let's take a look at some of my trades today. I think a big check mark for myself today comes from stock selection. Honestly, there were a lot of stocks today. Even though the market was weak, you could go take a look at Apple. I mean, if you were shorting Apple on the opening range break or around VWAP, let's actually go to some of my indicator filled charts over here. If you were looking at Apple today, you could have gotten short on the opening range breakdown, but it didn't really have much follow through. It just traded sideways, traded around VWAP. Nvidia did a lot of this sideways action today. Right, lot of sideways. Microsoft was still at the day's high when the market was continuously selling off. Tesla actually had a monster ramp off the open, and you can see how strong Tesla stayed going into the close, never really sold off, whereas the S&P 500 actually closed at a low a day. So it was like the mega cap, the large tech stocks didn't really care at all about the tariffs and the weakness in the market. But one thing that I did notice was Amazon was fairly weak, and Micron did exactly what I wanted it to do, which was pop into 83 and reject. So based on that, hold up, let's fix these charts real quick. Open that in a new image. So based on that, you can see how on the pop got short. This is where I should have really had most of my size instead of kind of adding on the way down the way I did, because this could have been a much cleaner trade just to look at it. It would have been almost painting charts, but also at the same time, this is where my EV is the highest. This is the highest EV for my trade. You can say possibly a 70% win rate over here for that name. And for the amount of risk that I'm giving for the reward that I'm getting out of this trade, A plus 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 plus. So I should really be putting most of my eggs into this basket over here at 83 for a move into $80, and anything below 80 is just bonus from there on out, in my opinion. And you can see how it tries to stall around 80 and then it breaks below 80 for one of the more cleaner moves for the rest of the day. My manager was actually he was saying maybe today, Prad, it was part skill and part luck, because he himself was shorting Apple and shorting Nvidia and not able to make any real good trades out of it, but he shorted QQQ and he was able to win on that. Whereas myself, I focused on two names, one of them being Micron, the other one being Amazon, and they just so happen to be the right names to focus on. And I did focus on Nvidia off the open too, but I had in my notes that, hey, I only care about Nvidia really if it's weak below 103.50. So the shots that I gave over here for the short side, it was a little probably a B level risk over here, which I was okay with, but I backed off of this idea as soon as I can, because the stock was holding above 104. So the idea was to look for the 103.50, which never really played off the open, and I backed off on this and I started focusing more on Micron, on Amazon, and you can see how part luck, part skill. I would say more skill than luck, because I actually came into work today asking my boss, what does he think about Micron? What does he think about shorting Micron on a pop into 83 if it was weak? And his answer was a little bit of flaky. It was like almost like he didn't really care about it. He said he much rather short Nvidia than Micron, because if he wanted to short a semiconductor name, it would be Nvidia instead, given its liquidity and everything. But I felt like because of the daily level, let's actually go to show you what that daily level on Micron is. Go to the weekly chart and you can see how every bar over here is 1 month's worth of information. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. For 8 months in a row, stock's not able to get below 83. If you go to the daily chart, doesn't that look like a bouncy ball pattern? So you got a pretty good bouncy ball pattern on the daily chart over here, and a nice move to the downside incoming. Now, if you swing this could end up being a really big trade back into $50, $60 area, depending on how weak the sector is, depending on how weak the market is, depending on how weak the stock itself is. But this is exactly what you wanted to look for as a big picture idea. Big picture breakdown, short any pops under this area as long as it continues to stay weak, and bang, 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 bang. I will say couple exits, like these profits over here, these profits over here, were immature. They were premature, maybe not immature, a little premature. Premature ejaculated over here on my profits. But I will say, based on the size that I had, I was a little shaky and a little uncomfortable holding the trade, given how explosive the move was. It was almost a one-shot move, and really all of this is a one-shot move. So given how extended the stock is moving, it was already extended one ATR from 84 to $80. So I don't really think I could have this big of a room in it. So given how extended it is, I think I'm okay with the way I took profits from this triangle onwards. But some of these triangles over here, it's not really worth getting out the way I did over here, because you're making a quick scalp profit on these trades, but if it doesn't work, you're almost always losing on these trades. So if I'm going to add the way I did, don't take the profits the way I did on these names, is kind of the anecdote over here for this position. So if you're going to add that way, don't take the profits that way. If you want to take profits this way, then add all your position on that first entry and then manage your trade properly. So a couple notes over there. Amazon, I kind of talked about this briefly. Waited for the VWAP pop, one of the weaker Magnificent Seven stocks, one of the weaker large cap tech names. So as it shows me weakness around VWAP on the pop, looking to join back on the short side, and enjoy the ride to the south side. Basically enjoy the ride. Gave back a little profits here, but I'm okay with it. You know, I wanted the variance today. I wanted to put more risk on table today to see if I could end up having a really good day. I didn't have a really good day, but I was having a really good day. I had a great day, right? I mean, I shouldn't say I was having a great day, but I ended up having a really good day. So I was looking to do something special today. Sadly, wah, wah, wah. No dice for your boy, no rice. I guess I don't know what I'm trying to say over here. SPY S&P 500. This one was my manager's call out. This one was kind of my manager's call out, but also my own trade, looking for that lower day breakout. This one was looking for that VWAP continuation. Didn't have much move, so I got out of some size for break even and held very little size to my stop, and that got stopped out. And this is the lower day breakdown. I've seen this happen where on weak markets, if the market actually takes out the lower day into power hour, most of the time the market ends at lower day, and that's exactly how that ends up being. So you end up getting about a $2 per share scalp for maybe risking about 50 cents on this position. I was short 538.50. I was risking 539, and you got a chance to get to 536 on that short there. So pretty good short opportunity there. Talked about Nvidia really briefly. Looking for that 103.50 weakness. It was strong above it, so I should not even have possibly taken these trades. If I wanted to take these trades, keep it lighter than what I actually had kept it over here. So that one could have been much better. Everything that I did over here, I'm okay with. You know why? Because it was based to plan. It was accordingly to plan. I wanted to see if the stock would stay weak under 103.50, and it fairly tried to stay weak under 103.50. My stop was above 104. It almost stopped me out over here, and I got lucky it didn't. On the way down, added back into the trade, blah 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 blah, and then yeah, just nowhere to go. Lost quite a bit of money on this one. Dumbest trade on the day goes to Wayfair. Well, dumbest trader on the day goes to me, but dumbest trade on the day goes to Wayfair. Why? If you zoom out on Wayfair, the stock is fucking near all-time low. What am I really looking for the stock to do from here? Am I expecting it to go back into lower day and then break lower day and then go into all-time low? I don't think that permutation's there all that often. You know, maybe there is a 25% chance that actually happens, but there is a 50% chance that this is what actually happens, where the stock just trades sideways and doesn't do jack shit all for you. So I didn't look at the daily, I didn't look at the weekly. I just blindly pulled up the name. I noticed that RH and Wayfair were both moving in tandem together. Took that breakdown over here and paid the price. That was the spot really where I should have gone short. I mean, look at that clean breakdown, monster short. There were a bunch of names that set up this way: Wayfair, Shopify, possibly Restoration Hardware too, maybe not. But there were a bunch of stocks that set up this way. That's a really good spot to take the breakout short and then risk that little pop high right there. You might not even have to risk all the way here. You can just risk this little pop high. And you know, end up with a big risk to reward opportunity. Sadly, I was risking $1 to potentially make $1.50, and I lost the full dollar on some really good size. So this one hurt. This is where I lost most of the money today, and this one hurt quite a bit. Hurt my feelings a lot, and made me want to turn off the software. Made me for sure want to turn off the software. Similar to S&P 500 here, looking to take that short on the break a lower day. You can see how it consolidated into lower day really well. It tried to have that failed breakdown, but after having that failed breakdown, it just was not able to get above the seller. The seller in this area was still very strong and adamant and holding the stock down. So based on that, if we take the lower day again, I'll take the short. So I took it and I was able to get a quick little scalp, just lunch money, able to buy a quick little Big Mac burger with that one. Nothing really too nothing really too special with that trade. Our good friend Victor Investing is online.
Rocking and rolling again.
Victor!
Up from 65 a share, they pretty much doubled in value. So this stock's really worked.
Let's say my chat says hi, and then we're gonna move on from that one because we got jobs to do. We got a job to do. Okay. Let's take a look at some of the names that moved around today. I mean, do we even need to take a look at this list? I don't think so. But obviously, this list is important. So we're going to quickly go through some of the names over here. Shout out to our boys at Centerpoint. QQQ down 5%. Restoration Hardware, wow, mamia, 40% down after reporting 10% growth year over year. So not looking good over there. Dell Technologies down 18%. NAK, I have no clue what that is, but it is up 15% as the US headlines around domestic mineral productions boosted shares. NAK, so I guess domestic minerals. What does that even count as? Like coal and oil and stuff? I'm not even sure what it comes under. Intel up 2% after reaching a preliminary agreement with TSM to form a joint venture, and TSMC will take a 20% stake in the new company. Okay, so Intel and TSM obviously making the watch list after that news. Nvidia down 7% as supply fears surrounding Asian market access and tariff weighed on the company. I wouldn't say that's exactly what happened over there, but yes, Nvidia did go down with the rest of the market at the end of the day. But you know, apparently semiconductors are not impacted with tariffs, so at least not impacted as hard as we think they would have been on tariffs. So and that's why you're seeing not that big of a move on technology, except for Apple. You know, Apple has a lot of products that are made in China. So tariffs are not a good thing for Apple. Tariffs are not a good thing for Nike, such as Vietnam. You know, a lot of their shoes are created in Vietnam. A lot of their shoes are created in China. So these tariffs are actually bad for said companies. So it makes sense that technology sector didn't really drop as hard as, for example, Restoration Hardware or Wayfair or Shopify or any of the, or Amazon or and so on. It makes sense why some of these companies didn't drop as hard. SLV down 6% as several metal commodities fell on tariff and growth concerns. Shouldn't silver and gold technically be going higher? Apple down 9% on tariff concerns. The company also received a price target cut from BofA. Both of these nuts. Citigroup down 12% as economic uncertainties and price target cut from JP Morgan. One bank cutting another bank. You gotta love that. You gotta love that. Shopify down 18% on that side. And last but not least, I want to go take a look at what stocks are reporting earnings tomorrow. And it looks like we have no names reporting earnings tomorrow. At least none that we care about. Okay, so quick little synopsis of the top 10 stocks and movers today. And you know, obviously, those names are going to make my watch list, along with a sprinkle of a bunch of other names on there. Some names that you might have seen today a bunch of times. And a couple other names such as Snowflake, which actually one of my pod members called out. I don't even know what Snowflake's chart looks like, but we're gonna take a look at it together. So why don't we start at the top of the list? Actually, guess reported earnings today after hours, and I don't really care about that. Okay, perfect. That makes my life 10 times easier. So let's start with the top of the watch list with Palantir. How did Palantir move? Look at that. Not even a slight move over here. This looks like it's stuck. So if market weakness, S&P 500 and QQQ being down 5% didn't take Palantir under yesterday's low for the close. I mean, does this even qualify for a name for us to keep an eye on? I'm not sure at that point. SMCI did gap down, but looks like it just did absolutely nothing. Lots of sideways action. So I really want to focus on names that you know, did something today and might do something tomorrow, because these are day 2 opportunity chances, right? So for example, Micron. So let me go to Micron on the 60-minute here. Go to I mean, there's no level for finding in this way. How am I going to find a level when the stock just goes straight to the downside? Jesus. Okay, so let's say there's a box here between that hourly low and that hourly high, between $76.50 and $78. On any pop in this range, I basically I'm expecting resistance in this pocket. If this pocket shows me resistance tomorrow, there could be a day 2 short to the downside. But if the stock is reclaiming this range, meaning it's trading sideways over here, then wait for the breakdown instead. And if it's reclaiming this range and getting to go higher, then wait for the breakout and then go long instead. So this area of zone for me is going to be very important on the hourly, and I bet you that today's VWAP is somewhere between $77. So let's go to the 5-minute chart here, turn on the extended trading chart, and boom, $77.50. That's exactly where I will be waiting for the stock patiently. I will wait for you. Patiently waiting to see if I get the opportunity to smack it back to the downside tomorrow. But this is the whole zone that I'll be watching for it, okay? So let me go back to my notes over here. Put in resistance zone first, which is $76.50. And then we're going to put $77.50. Yesterday's VWAP. And then after that, I'm going to put 78 to the upside. So these are the pockets that I want to watch. Well, it's more 77, 80 to 78. 77, 85 to 78. All right, perfect. For my notes, if stock reclaims the zone drawn on chart, wait for the range break to take part, or wait for range high and lows to slip in orders. Mainly waiting to see if stock can reject from yesterday's VWAP for a day 2 short. All right, so high priority number 1 is going to be a pop into 77.50 and then look short off of that bad boy. Restoration Hardware, day 2 opportunity. Let's go to the hourly chart first. Go to the regular trading hours. This is a lot easier and cleaner for me to play with at this point. You can see how there is a nice box on the hourly. You got a seller somewhere into 154. You got a buyer somewhere into 148. If the stock is trading below 148, there's just no more longs after that. But if we're still above 148, there's possibly, you know, stay away from looking for the shorts. There could be some possible longs to the upside, but you know, you still want to be careful and make sure that you're taking profits into 154 and not looking for a big blast off through 154 just because 148 held. Okay, so really watching how we trade in this pocket of zone, and today's VWAP is actually turning into somewhat of a support here on this name. So looking good for now for like a gap fill. This is a big drop. I mean, 40% drop for a stock whose PE is actually in the 90s. From what I remember in the morning, their PE is 90. Now their PE is 42. So that's a pretty big drop in PE. Big drop in valuation. Big drop in price. You just name it, right? So day 2 is not out of the picture, but you want to be careful forcing the short if they are actually able to hold 148. So 148 as a support, 154 to 154.50 as my resistance area. Purple, again, purple Lamborghini. If stock is holding 148, be careful on the shorts. Could look long around 148 if holding for a move to 154. Above 154.50 is bonus gifts for longs. As for short, if stock is struggling into 154.50s, look for shorts. And if weak into 148, get ready to add on the breakdown. So very interested to see how this one sets up tomorrow pre-market. Hopefully we got a pop and a chance to party with it. This could be a long tomorrow. I think Wayfair actually doesn't have a PE at all. Not too long ago, wasn't Wayfair actually almost getting bankrupt or something along those lines? I can't remember. Maybe you guys can correct me if I'm thinking about the wrong name over here. Maybe I'm thinking about Walgreens? Maybe I'm thinking about Walgreens instead of Wayfair. We got Corey in the house. What's up, Corey? Yo, Prad, just stopping in. Hope all is good. Taking time to focus. I'll be back in the game soon. Locked in, says Corey. Yes, sir. Always good to see you in the chat, brother. Hope you're well. I'm doing good. You know, God is good. Still alive. Sadly or happily, I'm not sure yet, but still alive. D. Westermeyer, the man with the 8 ball. Good. I've been good, brother. How you been? Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. Where was I? Right. Wayfair. So all-time low $21.70. Nope, I'm wrong. All-time low $16. That is 2020 low $21.70. So we'll be interested to see how this one plays out. Potential day 2 if we do break below today's low. Okay, there could be a day 2, easy day 2 if it struggles around this 26.50, 26. What was that fucking high? 26, not 26.50. Sorry. So if it does reject around $26 and is weak into 23, there could be a move into 21.70, 22. But I'm not really looking to take the breakdown. I'm much rather short around 26. So it's either around 26 or no trade for me at all. I know I'm saying that now, but I could bullshit my way into a breakdown around 23.50. I could see myself completely doing that. So I'm just gonna put that one out there in case it does happen. Mainly want to short at 26 if weak or get long above it. Please do not take the breakdown of 23.50 unless the setup is A+. Okay, and that's the plan over there. Dell was down quite a bit today. Let's go take a look at Dell Technologies on a longer time frame, huh? Let's take a look at Dell here. Mamma mia, not looking good. So that's a pretty decent level for it to break under. Similar to Micron, not extremely similar to Micron because that didn't have as many tests of this low, but fairly similar to Micron. Idea is also close if it does pop into these hourly highs and finds resistance. I would love to look for a short. And you can see how into the close it actually had this box between 79 to 82 and then it broke that box. I think on a pop tomorrow, 79 is that the, yeah, 79 might even start acting as a barrier. You might not see the stock above 79, 79.50 on a pop, at which point that might be your marker to short. Looks like today's VWAP on the hourly is actually at 80 bucks. Let's go to the 5-minute on extended trading hours, and it is at 80 bucks. So potential pop into 79 to $80 and then rejecting there on a pop, just more downside. So looking for 79 to $80 area as an under over 79, 80 If stock can reject into yesterday's VWAP, look for day 2 setup. I already think I can turn off the stream now because I don't think I need to be preparing for any other name tomorrow. These are already enough names and really good quality names for tomorrow that I don't think I need to prepare for anything else. You know, part of me is saying that mainly because if you focus on just your top priority names, this is that's not what I'm trying to click on. Where did it go? This is what you can get out of it. If you focus on your highest priority names, this is how you can really smoke that trade. And if I look at my PNL on the day, all of the money came from one ticker and one symbol only. Okay, so if I just focus on those 4 names over there and trade the one that sets up according to my game plan, that's all it takes, ladies and gentlemen. That's all it takes. You don't need a million names to focus on. Oh man, I clicked on oh, there we go. I was able to nah, still gonna open up some windows. Yep, there it is. Get out of my face. Close them all. There we go. Okay. Intel, not sure if I really have a game plan on Intel. TSM did drop on that news, which doesn't make any sense. Intel actually popped on the news, which kind of makes sense. For deleting my Nike post, I didn't delete your Nike post. What are you talking about? I didn't delete nothing. I don't even see your Nike post. I wouldn't do that to you. But yes, Nike did drop. But if you zoom out, Nike's dropping into supports. So I'm not sure I really care about Nike as much, but it is a tariff trade. It is very much a tariff name, a tariff trade, and could open up some downside. Do I care about Nike? No. Moving on. Moving on. Do I care about Snowflake? I don't know if I care about Snowflake as much as my trading pod member cares, but I'll leave it on the watch. I'm not sure if this deserves as much respect as he's giving it, but yeah, we'll move on from that one. Shopify, let's see how Shopify looks on the daily. A little bit better, very similar to Snowflake, but a little bit better. It did break a double bottom support, market weakness. I'm not sure how much of tariffs affects Shopify. It is a Canadian company. I'm pretty sure Shopify is Canadian, right? Is Shopify Canadian? Yes, Shopify. Ottawa, Canada. Okay, there we go. Canada and Mexico were not included on that big list of countries that he was tariffing. So I'm not really sure how much this is impacted. Market clearly thinks this is impacted. I guess just play the damn chart. If the chart is showing you weakness, you know, you got some moves. But I'm not really seeing any sort of a box that we have been seeing so far on other names like Micron, Dell, and so on. So the only thing I can think of right now is like today's VWAP. So if it pops into today's VWAP, which is right around $84, potentially some trade over there. But the priority for this one, I'm gonna give it an orange instead of a purple, because I'm more interested about these names over here than Shopify. Apple and the large cap names. Let's go to these names really quickly, because I do need to paint some lines for these ones, because they did go into new ranges. I guess I don't really need to paint for this one. Apple in a nice tight box, waiting for pops to show me weakness under 208. If Apple stays weak under 208.50 tomorrow, I think that is a no-brainer short over there. Amazon should be somewhere around 180. I think I can delete that line. I can move this here, and that should be what, 184.50. So if Amazon does pop and show me weakness below 180, which is where today's VWAP is, that's ideally the better setup. But if it does pop back up into these box highs and show some weakness, I'm interested. Meta, I'm not really gonna trade it too much because of the lack of liquidity on that name, but you know, big ATR name, big price name, so it is going to give you a decent move if you're able to be patient and disciplined enough to wait for the right levels. You'll get a good trade out of it. Microsoft showing you some weakness still off of that big 377 level, but you saw how not weak the stock was today while the whole market was weak. This is beautiful. This is wonderful. That is high priority name right there. Now, if there's a large cap stock that I just got excited about, that's going to be Google. Look at that hourly level. If Google actually breaks that hourly level, I think this could have some move to the downside. That's basically 150. Very, very simple. 150. Under, over 150. If we break below that, I think Google has a clean move to the downside, at least to 147. So I'm gonna put 150, 147, 150. If under 150, get short. It's as simple as that for me. Tesla, choppy. Nvidia, choppy. Choppy. But 103.50 is still the level in my opinion. Let me just get rid of all of these lines and then throw that one back right there. And then we can throw one down here. 103.50, 104. So still waiting for 103.50 to continue to show me some weakness on pops. And that is basically the inflection level. If above 103.50/104, no shorts. Period. I don't want to short this fucking garbage if it gets above it. Okay. And last but not least, I really want to focus on this one. I keep saying that every day, but I end up not doing it. But I think tomorrow might be a high priority for this one, mainly because if the market rolls off, if the market bounces, I can delete this alert now. If the market bounces tomorrow, this is going to sell off, and you can see how it's very close to some sort of a resistance area right here around 32. Just now breaking the most recent high, the fear and greed index. My good friend Victor H Investing, can we go directly to his chart, his page? Victor H Investing, he actually tweeted out the fear and greed number, which is now at 8. Let's go see if it's still there. Fear and greed index, where are you at now? At 8. So the fear is getting even more worse. People are worried, they are scared, and obviously you're seeing that play out in UVXY and VIX and so on. So if you go to QQQ, look at QQQ on the hourly real quick. This is the level really that I'm watching. So if QQQ gets back above today's VWAP or 457, that's no more shorts really tomorrow, and I guess you can short UVXY instead, right? If you're a bear, if you're a person who only makes money shorting stocks, I'm talking to myself here, then you might want to go short UVXY instead of trying to go long on the market and then trading that poorly, right? So that's going to be a very high focus for me. No real levels on UVXY that I want to focus on or map out, because I think this is more so like a intraday level to level based trade based on how QQQ, S&P 500, and the IWM and Dow Jones are doing. So this is more of looking at all things at once and then focusing on this name as my instrument. So that's how it's going to play out. No real levels and game plan for this one besides that. I mean, you can put levels off of hourlies, off of dailies, but I don't know how useful that's going to really be for you to make a trading decision. So watching UVXY for sure, and I would urge you to keep this one on your watch list also. That is basically our watch list for tomorrow. High priority names highlighted in purple. A little bit of a lower priority names highlighted in orange. Let me do that for these ones. And locked and loaded for tomorrow. Real quick, let's show you guys the econ calendar. 8:30 is a little busy for a Friday. We got a bunch of econ data, unemployment number, private non-farm payrolls, participation rate. What the hell is that? Non-farm payrolls, average hourly earnings. So a bunch of numbers that the Fed is going to take a look at to decide how they're going to battle inflation. Fed Chair Powell at 11:25. That's not fun. That's going to move the market based on what he's going to be saying. And then you also have another Fed Chair Barr at 11:25. Also another Fed member at 12:45. Fed member Waller. So a bunch of Fed members from 11 till 12 till 1 o'clock really. And then you have the 8:30 numbers. So good thing that there is no number during market hours. It's all pre-market. But bad thing that Powell and friends are going to be talking during market hours. I guess I shouldn't say bad thing because that is going to be some sort of a volatility to take part in. So just make sure that you're attentive and watching the market, watching what the Fed members say, and don't get spooked by something out of the blue. Know what's happening on the econ calendar. We do have a big IPO, a $6 billion IPO, Fat Pipe Inc. What the fuck is this? Fat Pipe Inc. Really? Okay. $5 to $7 name. Huh? Oh, that's a $6 million IPO. Never mind. I thought this was a $6 billion IPO. They tricked me with that 0.25 over there. Ah, tricky. So never mind. Probably not going to care about this one as much. We don't have a big IPO coming up, but there are a couple IPOs, and IPO sector has been a little spicy right now. So for sure, worth keeping an eye on. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all she wrote for tonight. China has got to go. China has got to blink. Until then, market will go lower and lower. You mean China has to react and lower the interest rates or something? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, I could agree with that. I'm not really disagreeing with that. BTC holding well, says my good friend Dieter. Always good to see you in the chat, Dieter. Yes, it is actually holding well. But my level on BTC was this 93K somewhere. Yeah, right there. As we took out that 93,000, 93,500, I guess. And then this support over here of 90K itself. Once we got below it, we were never really able to get above it. And now we're below the 200-day moving average. So, is this really holding well? I guess you could say yes, right? It is holding well. It's not really breaking down the way the rest of the market is, but I'm not sure how well it can actually continue to do that when the rest of the market is looking very, very scary. Anyways, time for me to call it a night, ladies and gentlemen. I'm hungry as hell. I haven't eaten anything since 12 o'clock today, so I'm gonna go get some food in. And then I gotta do, obviously, a bunch of homework and chores and then a bunch of other nonsense. So I'm gonna head out. I wish you guys a great weekend. I wish you guys a monster Friday. Free Fall Friday might be around the corner. So good luck for Free Fall Friday. yeah, don't force the shorts. Today was a big down day, but that doesn't mean tomorrow has to be the down day, right? Tomorrow could be a sideways day. Tomorrow could be a bounce day. So don't force the shorts, but also don't force the longs because the market is very, very weak. Be patient, trade after 10 o'clock, and good luck. I'll see you guys Monday. Bring in my big screen over here. Back to another brand new week of After the After Hours with your host TraderPrad. I'm doing great. Hopefully you guys are joining me on that great side. Markets are moving around. Might just be a risk on type of day, so let's see what happens. 8 o'clock tomorrow. As you guys know, we do the stream Monday to Thursday, 8 p.m. Shout out to my affiliate sponsors, Benzinga, Trade Ideas, the #1 scanner to go to, Trader Sync, promo code down below, promo code PRAD15 to get 15% off. I will catch you guys tomorrow, 8 o'clock, same time, same place. Until then, TraderPrad out. Adios.